So torture-free food is a movement, but nobody wants to call it torture-free because I think it's
torture-free.
Yeah, torture-free food. The vast majority of food is, and I think there's a reason. I think it's purposeful.
Are the vast majority of the people working slave jobs to eat that food tortured as well?
Yes.
Perhaps eating tortured meat helps one live a tortured experience.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah,
pain threshold.
It makes them. Right. I mean, it's like being pulled into it. They're gravitationally pulled into torture. You know, because they tolerate torture in their environment, and everything that they eat is torture. Or GMO. I mean, everything's like genetically modified, which to me is like a torture.
Right.
Like they're torturing plants. You know, like, and even though people are like, well, I don't know if plants have consciousness. Well, there's quite a bit of more than anecdotal evidence to show that plants react to environmental circumstances, that they send out signals to other plants when bad things happen.
Secret Life of Plants.
Yeah, right.
Pretty famous book.
So we're eating all this tortured food. And that's where it's like, okay, what I've noticed is as I've moved away from tortured food, I mean, I don't know how else to put it, that my life has improved and I've become less tortured. Like, I've become a person who isn't as vulnerable to getting sucked into those kinds of
You are
systems.
a freedom-desiring person, so is there a correlation between
I mean, I learned
a desire for freedom and a diet?
Yes, I think so. Or the capacity to be free comes from not having hooks in us that drag us back down into the torture world. So to the extent that we're like, oh, you know, I can overlook the torture of these animals and the suffering of these plants, then you know, to the extent that we overlook that, then we have hooks in us that pull us down back into the torture realm.
Really?
I mean, I really feel that that's true. I mean, I think there's something to that. So I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, everywhere I look and I see it, and I mean, I've got close friends who are just like, well, I have to eat this. And it's like, okay, well, if this is what you think you have to eat.
What looks least appealing on this rack?
For me, pretty much all the compressed
I like
meat
the imitation cheese that kind of goes with the boneless ham here. That's...
I mean, look at this overload of food. But so much of it is bad for us. They keep the prices really cheap, so we have an incentive to eat torture. And then they're like, okay, well, people are just going to continue to eat torture, and that's what they're going to. Then they're going to remain slaves to the system because they get a hunger for it. They don't even know where it comes from, and then they hate each other, and there's a lot of resentment.
Corn King. King of Corn.
It's meat porn.
King Corn. Wasn't that the documentary was called King Corn?
I think. Oh yeah. And that's where, you know, like the GMO corn is literally like it causes the plant stomachs of insects to explode.
Right.
And we're eating that stuff. And our flora and fauna in our guts are modifying themselves for the new environmental circumstances of all these poisons.
For the new terraformed Earth.
Yes, right.
What's there to...
Now you see this company here, the Chateau Milk Company, we can go out there and meet the cows, and they're torture free. They don't live in confinement. They're allowed to be free range. In the summertime, you can taste the differences in the milk from what they're eating on the range. They get a more complete and full diet.